All right, good evening. Come on, let's be louder. I know this is I know we're getting to near the end of the program. We've got a lot of folks at the bar, and I realize I'm standing between you and dancing tonight. Let me thank Abby for the tips to get a free subscription, a downloadable copy of The Klansman tonight. But as Congressman Krishnamurthy said, I also want to thank the Impact team, especially Deepak Raj for his amazing visionary leadership, Commissioner Neil Makuja, who is probably the only state or local elected official I know that has won an Emmy Award, and Chithid Patel for serving as an amazing elected director. We just heard from Ami Bera, but I'm here to tell you, before there was Ami, before there was Pramila, before there was Raja, before there was Ro, before there was Suhas, before there was Sri, what Raja Krishnamurthy is affectionately referred to as the Samosa Caucus, there was Kumar, there was Swati, there was Raj, and there was Jay. And by Jay, I'm not referring to myself. I am referring to the first South Asian Americans that were elected to office in their respective state houses in Maryland, Iowa, Ohio, and Kansas. This is important to remember because there is no doubt that in the last decade, as we are a direct witness tonight, that we have seen a remarkable rise of South Asian Americans elected now to both Congress and state houses. But I am here to remind you that more than 20 years ago, as we saw South Asians break ground to become the first ever electeds in their offices in their respective states, they found a passionate and fierce political operative with Raghu Devaguptapu, who believed who believed with all his heart that the importance of representation of our community and the ideals of a multiracial democracy. It's Raghu's fierce devotion and love to our community, something I know his immigrant parents instilled to him, that helped play a pivotal role in electing so many South Asian Americans to become the first in their community to be elected in their state houses, including me. And it's that same devotion and love to our community that helped Raghu play a role in electing 4 out of the 6 South Asian members of Congress today. But Raghu's accomplishment really extends beyond just electing our own. He's the only media consultant to have worked on all 5 Democratic Party major independent expenditures: the Senate Majority PAC, the House Majority PAC, the Democratic Congressional Committee, the Democratic Senatorial Campaign, and the Democratic Governors Association, and what's jokingly called the Infinity Gauntlet. But here's what I treasure the most as a friend of Raghu, is the incredible work that he's done in mentoring a whole new generation of South Asian operatives, whether it's helping them with their next job or helping them clear the way for South Asians to succeed in the industry. So let me conclude by saying this. And I know this, Raghu, and I don't mean to embarrass you, but I know as a young man growing up in Wisconsin in a tight-knit South Asian community, Raghu once aspired to be a rock star as he toured with his band across the country playing on college campuses. And that still may be Raghu's calling card. But Raghu, my friend, you are solid as a rock to so many of us. You have helped get elected to office. You are solid as a rock to so many friends that are here tonight, many that you have mentored and helped. You are solid as a rock, as a son, a husband to Rima, a father to 2 amazing daughters. And yes, Raghu, you are the rock star in our community that has helped change the narrative of what it means to be an American and helped elect so many good progressives to offices around the country. And so tonight, I want to congratulate you on receiving the Civic Engagement Award from Impact. I know that this country now needs you more than ever as you continue to fight for the American narrative. I know that you will persist And yes, we're still waiting for that tour announcement. Give it up for Raghu Devaguptapu.
Right. Sweet.
I can tell you who's solid as a rock is all of you that stayed this long. Thank you. Okay. I will do my best to be brief. What an honor. Good evening, everybody. First, I have to, like everybody else, let me thank everyone at Impact, especially our founder, Deepak Raj. We had coffee together almost a decade ago and found like-mindedness sitting at PJ Clark's, realizing that this is what something could be for our community. I also want to thank Narendra Mulani, who had to leave. He's one of our important board members. Neil Makija, our wonderful president, and of course, Chintan Patel, our fantastic executive director, who I begged to take this job. And we are so lucky that you did. And of course, the entire hardworking staff of Impact, who just crushes it all the time for our community. Back in English class, we were taught that impact is always a noun, not a verb. But this organization is very clearly proven otherwise, because impact acts, it builds, it wins elections, and it changes lives. And as an original board member of the organization, I couldn't be prouder of everything that it's achieved over the last decade. Not in my speech, but I want to be clear about this. We have some candidates here who are fantastic. Impact has moved millions and millions of dollars to South Asian candidates across the country, up and down the ballot, and we've made a really, really big difference to this community. And so thank you all for being here. I want to thank Senator Chowdhury for his kind words. The first time Jay and I met, he told me, "Hey, brother, I know we just met, but I feel like I've known you my whole life." And while I'd never met a Desi with a Southern drawl before, the feeling was certainly mutual. Since then, we've grown our careers and families side by side, and I'm so grateful for our friendship, and North Carolina is truly lucky to have his leadership. I also want to thank Congressman Bera, who unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight. He's actually leaving for India in a couple of days, too. His campaigns were some of my first big ones as a consultant, and they were tough, and they were expensive, and sometimes downright nasty. People don't know this, for 8 years, I never saw a poll that had Ami over 50%. But yet, he kept winning, and his resilience has inspired, in my mind, a new generation of South Asian candidates across the country. Ami took a chance on me when I was a young guy with a little more swagger than sense, frankly, as a consultant. But my story will forever be entwined with his, and I owe him a lot. So thank you, Ami. Good luck on your travel abroad. When we first campaigned for Ami, we made him say that he would never take a first-class flight because we hit his opponent for flying back to D.C. first class, and now he's going to India, and I bet he's sitting coach. And then I want to take a moment just to thank the people who have had the biggest impact on my life, and that's my family. To my daughters, Sami and Kea, who remind me every day why this work matters. To my wife, Rima, who many of you know, who helps keep me sane. So, by our third date, I knew that I wanted to marry her. She, on the other hand, wasn't quite sure. But I did do what I do best. I ran a persuasion campaign. Next year, we will celebrate our 20th anniversary, so I think it worked. And I also I want to thank my parents, Padma and Seshagiri Rao, Devaguptapu, who are here, who I owe so much. Like, one of the things that I love about this evening is, there you go, Dad. One of the things I love about this evening is I think a lot of us are saying many of the same things about our journeys and why we persist. My parents came to this country 6 decades ago, guided by little more than a compass of hope and a conviction that America was a land of opportunity for them. But they didn't head for New York or LA. Instead, they settled in a place that they knew they'd blend in, rural Wisconsin and Michigan. Right. About as far from India as you could imagine. But it was cold and it was unfamiliar. My dad even sold his sport coat to buy my mom her first winter jacket. And they didn't know a soul. So they opened up the phone book, picked out the first Indian name they saw, and they dialed it. But that one phone call became the start of a community they built from scratch. And I think it revealed a really important lesson. Representation matters. Whether it's in the phone book or on a ballot, when you see yourself reflected in the world, you know you belong. And that's why impact is so important. You know, my parents taught me that lesson time and again. One day in Michigan, before my first day in school, my mom bought me this University of Michigan #1 Anthony Carter jersey. For those of you Wolverines in the building, which turned out from my mom's case to be a really savvy move because suddenly I wasn't just the new kid. I wasn't just the brown kid. I was the kid wearing the jersey of one of the greatest wide receivers in college football at the time. And in a sea of white, I was actually part of the club. But, you know, while my parents encouraged my sister Priya and I, who's here this evening, to build community and connection wherever we could, they never let us forget where we came from. We were Indian, and we were damn proud of it. And that's why when I walked into classrooms as the only brown child in that room, I didn't shrink or shy away. I thought, sweet, I'm one of a kind, just like that jersey. I'm really grateful to my parents for instilling me with that confidence in my identity because I quickly learned how rare it is for kids who look like us. In college, which sadly was a long time ago, I met so many students of color still searching for that sense of belonging, still carrying the weight of feeling like an outsider. But I thought if just a few of us can get through that door, maybe we can tear off those hinges and make it easier for everyone else that follows. So over the last 20 years, I've tried to do exactly that. And thanks to so many people in this room, as we've talked about this evening, I think we've made remarkable progress. Before Ami, as we've said, he was the only South Asian Democrat in Congress, and our numbers in state houses were stuck in single digits. Now we've got 6 in Congress. We've got almost how many do we have nationwide, Chimpin? State legislators? Yeah. When I was a national political director of the DLCC in 2002, there was 4. And now how many do we have? In the 20s. All right. And this upcoming cycle, it's critical that we can keep building. Our candidates are running in races that could decide control of the House. They're going to flip key state legislatures and expand our voice in the U.S. Senate with Raja, right? But here's the thing. Right now, we can literally determine the balance of power in this country. And impact is critical in making that happen. And everyone in this room is critical in making that happen. And this work has never been more important. Our democracy, it's under assault. Our educational opportunities are being attacked at every turn. The very promise of America, the same one that brought my family and so many of yours to this country, are viewed with suspicion and disdain. That's why this moment demands all of us. Everyone in this room is a leader here. And everyone in this room has a responsibility to stand up and be heard. Because our stories have always made this nation stronger, and it's our triumphs that have always moved this nation forward. But here's the thing, it's not just about changing who holds office, it's also about changing who builds our campaigns and who leads in the exchange of ideas. It's about building a pipeline for the next generation of South Asian leaders can dream bigger than we did. That's why I've always been committed to opening doors for aspiring operatives of color, providing mentorship and resources, putting them on payroll or placing them on campaigns, and just making sure they know that they don't just belong in our politics, they strengthen it. This is the thing, right? So I'm deeply humbled that Impact has honored me this evening, and I can't thank all of you enough for staying past all of your bedtimes. So I want to thank you, Impact, for helping lead this fight. I want to thank you, Rima, Kay, and Samia, for your constant love. And thank you all for this incredible honor. Now, as we're getting a close to the end of this thing here, I just want to say, let's go win some elections, and let's help this country live up to the promise that drew my parents here all those years ago. So thank you. Thank you very much.